Hey viewers, and welcome back to another episode of Kyle's Past Reviews, the series in which you people decide on which anime film should I review. Today's topics were Inside Out, Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island, Superman Red Sun, The Incredibles, and Turbo. And you people chose Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island. Ah yes, who doesn't remember Scooby-Doo? Who, of course, obviously has one of the greatest runs of all time on Cartoon Network in Boomerang, with many of its own specials and seasons and spin-offs, of course. But Scooby-Doo is obviously known for being one of the most iconic franchises ever made by Hanna-Barbera, up to the same ranks as the Flintstones and the Jetsons. But when it comes to the other thing that makes us known that Scooby-Doo will never die is the direct-to-video films. And it still is going on to this day as I'm recording this. Yes. But this time we're talking about Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island, the one that started all to show that people that direct-to-video films can still have more substance and care put onto them. And I know this film isn't really unlooked upon by the people. It is actually quite known by a lot of people, especially for the creators that they made a sequel to called Return to the Zombie Island, and that didn't win as high as the first film did for its anticipation and quality. So, but yet again, and will Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island show us that there is still content and quality to be made in direct-to-video films? The plot of the film is surprisingly kind of like it's the sequel to the original Scooby-Doo series, where it's been years since the Mystery Inc. have been teamed up again, as of right now, as they teamed up, and actually solve some mysteries like as they do in their old days, despite the monsters themselves being fake. However, they actually did get one surprise where they actually had to solve one mystery in a mansion that's actually haunted, which does bring up the intensity of the tone of the film itself, which I'll give credit that it does well with its job. But the problem I have with the plot itself is that there are plenty of moments where the scenes play out obvious, but they always want to act like that the audience have no clue what the scene is about, so they had to use dialogue to actually let the audience have a better understanding of it. Which can be a bit of an issue, because that's not how you do a detective story where they have to keep on reminding us without letting the audience figure out for themselves. But that's just only one issue, and after that, there are also some other elements that still makes the story engaging, like with the comedy, that actually does show us that it is still a Scooby-Doo film. Since the humor is mostly delivered by your boys, Shaggy and Scooby, they actually are quite humorous and quite gagful to actually make the film somewhat quite hilarious and even quite heartwarming at times. Okay, not really always, but it still put you in a happy mood whenever you listen to them jokes. And I'll even give credit that it does well of actually being more of a scary Scooby movie than other ones as well. Well, most Scooby-Doo projects are basically just having goofy, spoopy moments. This one actually is quite a spooky, terrifying category, with most of the tones and the intensity bring up into the action scenes, which does make the story feel more engaging as crossed to the end. But the film also has a plot twist, and it took me a bit of some time to understand it and sometimes to get used to. And whether it's good or not, it's a bit in my opinion. But that's just only a second issue. And on top of that, the characters do stay true to how they always be enjoyable in the original series. Well, some didn't change, like Scooby and Shaggy, who stayed as their usual selves, which still are the comic reliefs that do supply us some pretty hilarious humor, and Velma is the brains of the group who wants to solve the cases badly. But Daphne and Fred, on the other hand, they actually are the ones that actually got the most change of the group, who, especially when they're producing the show, where Daphne is running the show, who actually wants to experience ghosts for her show, and Fred, who is probably the most doubtful one now actually ghosts appearing. And they do have their own interest in the new characters, where Fred has a thing for Lena and Daphne having one for Bo, which does give out some more humor, a bit similar to Scooby and Shaggy. As for the new characters, they actually do show off their purpose as for their environment, despite having some well-known personalities, like Miss Lenoir, the cat lady, who is the leader of the haunted house, who is accompanied by her assistant Lena. Bo is the gardener, Jacques is the friendly man of the environment itself, and Snakebite Scruggs, the tempered fisherman who is determined to get himself a catfish. And they actually do supply their own twist in the around the end. Well, some do actually are kind of well executed and does make sense to they truly understand as to who they are. Some are a bit off. Like there is that one hint that does give off a vibe as to who they actually are. But that's just only one hint and just leaves us confused as to how they actually became this. I know they did explain that one story to actually tell us as to how they became that. But seriously, what is that about, eh? But yeah, that's just only my one criticism, and the characters are still solid on their own. But if there's one thing in the quality of the Scooby-Doo franchise that got the biggest upgrade, and it's the animation. Starting off with the character designs, they do stay true as to how they look in the original series, but they still got that more of that animated detail look into them, where they have more like a light input onto them, and give out some more details that makes them more different compared to they actually look like in the original series. And not only that, the backgrounds are actually well detailed to show off that painterly look like within the mansion and the environment and even other areas as well. Sure, it's still stuck in the same place, but you can't help but still look at it. But the best design of the characters themselves has to be on the monsters and the zombies. Where they have more of a terrifying and threatening look to show that they are actually not really the type of monsters that you don't want to mess around with, or even make a joke out of them as well. And I would give him credit that the action scenes are quite intense with the zombies themselves when they try to chase down the leads, which does smoothen the quality a bit to actually show us that they add more of a budget to them than they do in the original series as well. God, I said that so many times, it's almost killing my head already. But yet again, there's also the character animation, and while it did get a slight boost from the other series that actually makes it more smoothly and give out that anime feel to it, there is still a sense that it is still limited and still feels like it belongs in a TV series. Still better than others, but ain't too perfect. And sure, the animation itself isn't too perfect, but it is still good as to what it offers. In conclusion, Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island is the perfect Scooby-Doo film where it ain't perfect on its own or groundbreaking due to the lack of twist and is down to engaging and making sense, and even talking down to his audience. It does bring out an engaging story, boosted animation that actually boost up the quality more a bit, and the characters that are still enjoyable as they are in the series. This is a must-watch for Scooby-Doo fans, and even can show us that even direct-to-video films can have more quality and substance put onto them. And just like how this film has its own mark in the history of actually showing us that DVD films can have their own moments, I'm definitely giving this a 0 good. A Scooby-Doo project that actually have horror helmets, yet still good on its own. Take elements, Velma. And for you people that are wondering as to what's next for Kyle's Past Reviews, that's for you to decide. All you have to do is to go into the community page and choose out the film that you want me to review. These options include Paw Patrol the movie, Thief in the Cobra, the recobbled cut, Chicken Run, The Simpsons movie, and Over the Hedge. Thanks for watching, and this is Kyle's Web Entertainment.